Joining us now to discuss the verdict is criminal defense attorney David Shapiro. Thank you for coming in this afternoon as this verdict came in. This verdict today is proof that a no-body case can be tried successfully, isn't it?
100% it is. And there's always been proof of that, maybe just not on this stage. And the jury delivering the verdict they did in the amount of time they did certainly showed that proof that no-body verdicts could still be guilty in San Diego County.
Well, you've said it. It was quick. This verdict did not take long.
Yeah, I mean, this is a trial over the better course of 7 weeks, coming up on 2 months, and the jury deliberated really a full half day and parts of yesterday and a very small part of this afternoon. Pretty quick.
It was circumstantial evidence, so discuss that. Clearly, they felt competent enough to make it in really quick time.
Yeah, there was circumstantial evidence, but there was a lot of it, right? And as defense attorneys, a lot of times, our biggest argument is there's no direct evidence, right? There's no body, there's no DNA, there's no eyewitness. But circumstantial evidence, the jury is tasked with determining whether or not there's another reasonable interpretation of it that could point to innocence. Based on their verdict, it seems pretty quickly that they didn't think that was there.
Because there was a lot of video. It showed Maya. It showed him leaving the house for 12 hours, bangs on neighborhood ring cameras, lots of different things. The jury on each one of those things that falls under circumstantial had to make the choice, is this a fact? Do I believe this? That would lead to guilt. And it seems like on every one of them they did that.
Right, at least the ones that matter to them. Right now, each jury is different. Each person is different on what may matter to them. But ultimately, none of these circumstantial evidence they thought strongly enough led to his innocence. Otherwise, they wouldn't have returned the verdict of first-degree murder, quite frankly, as quickly as they did.
And you're a defense criminal attorney. What is his best appeal avenue, which we know will come?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to motions in limine, to pretrial motions, when the judge prevented the defense from being able to argue third-party culpability, that it could have been someone else who made her disappear. It could have been someone else who took her life. That'll be an interesting aspect on appeal, which is, a ways away, but certainly an avenue I'm sure Mr. Millete and his defense team will explore.
So this was also, they had choices. This was first-degree murder. That is premeditation, first-degree murder. Let's talk sentencing in that case.
Sure. Not a whole lot of discretion, if any, for the judge. It is going to be 25 years to life whenever Mr. Millete is sentenced. The judge's hands are tied, assuming he wanted discretion. He doesn't have it. And it'll ultimately be up to a parole board whether or not Mr. Millete is ever free again, assuming his appeals are unsuccessful.
And he chose not to testify. Looking back on it now, what do you think the impact was that Larry Millete didn't testify?
Well, I mean, first off, what's interesting to note is that it's his choice, right? As defense attorneys, we control a lot of strategy, what evidence we put in, but as it relates to a criminal defendant, they have the right, paramount to anything we could say as their attorney, to testify or not to testify. And there's a lot of strategy reasons why you would, a lot of strategy reasons why you would not, but ultimately in a case like this where there is this significant amount of circumstantial evidence, the jury should not have considered that he didn't testify. Inevitably, in all likelihood, they probably did.
You probably did. And especially in the wrap-up, the defense talked a lot about presumed innocence, that feelings aren't facts. She really honed in on that. Talk to me about how it wasn't effective. Some of the things that they tried to keep the jury open-minded, some of the language the defense attorney was using, it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't work based on the quickness of the jury's verdict, but in fairness, they had a tough case. This was a very, very detailed, a very comprehensive, 5+ years in essence of an investigation. They did not have a ton to work with. They had a lot to have to try and poke holes at to get somewhere. So that was the best avenue of defense that they thought. Ultimately a jury disagreed.
Ultimately, we know you'll join us again at 5, David. We always appreciate it.
It's great to be here.
Great to see you again, David Shapiro, criminal defense attorney. We'll see you a little later in the evening.